All right, so we're
Perfect.
joined all the way from Jamaica by my friend Shevonne Chin, even though she is visiting and originally from the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. We thank you so much for joining us. The owner, founder of Flick Fireworks and Drones, just a history maker, brand leader in the drone and firework industry. We thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We've got a room full here with us at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, for all of our computer science, engineering, and engineering academy students, including my good friend Willie Bates over there at MCTC and my good friend Angela Jordan at Shirley Simmons Middle School and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today while you're on vacation in the Caribbean.
Well, absolutely. I wouldn't quite say it's a vacation. I'm still working. We're always working. It never stops. We just change the scenery of where we're working. And that's the beauty of this really in this industry is that, it's worldwide. Everybody loves fireworks and everybody, well, they're starting to love drones.
Yeah, and I know you have a presentation you're going to show us that I've already seen that I thought was incredible. You've got some incredible information, incredible footage on there that I really think they're going to enjoy. And you had some things on there that I did not know. So very, very cool. And it's also very cool that there in Canada, you have made history as a drone pilot. And you also did not originally go to school for this because your background is in payroll and accounting. So it really is a huge pivot, but a very, very cool pivot and a very fast growing field.
Absolutely. And I'm here to tell students, learn a lot, enjoy what you do at each stage because I've done everything. I've been a childcare worker, I've done quality assurance, I've done accounting, I've done payroll, I've done everything. I've worked at KFC. And you never know that all these little skills that you build lead you where you're going to go. And all of those skills that you learn, you end up using further on in life. So never be afraid to jump in at what's available right now because you don't know how those skills are transferable to future.
Big time.
Yeah. So hi everybody. A good thanks, Greg, for that great introduction. I am from Toronto. I am in beautiful island of Jamaica. I am the founder of Flick FX. I'll just start with my slide deck so you guys can have a good idea of what we've been talking about behind the scenes. Uh, go. Can you see?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's make this smaller and make this bigger. Present. So everybody can hear me? Are
Yep.
we
We hear you and we see your screen. There we
perfect?
go. All right.
All
Yeah.
right. So I'm here to talk about the power of the sky and how Flick Effects is in the aerospace industry doing something a little bit different. Who am I? I am a pilot, a licensed pyrotechnician, and a fireworks supervisor with endorsements. I became Canada's first woman swarm drone pilot last year. Again, there's many pilots in the drone field, but I'm very specific in doing swarm drones. And we'll talk about what a swarm drone is as we get along into this presentation. Sorry for the background noise.
Oh,
Um,
we're fine.
okay, perfect. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick timeline of how I got into the business and how quickly I went from selling into the trunk and to being a licensed pyrotechnician and pilot. So here's my timeline from 2020 is when I really started with the fireworks. And now in 2024, I'm a pilot, supervisor in fireworks, and licensed in pyrotechnics. So the learning curve is really short. And then you can really specialize depending upon what aspect of this you'd like to go into. So I was really fascinated by fireworks, which led me into pyrotechnics, which then led me into drones. Now, a lot of people interchange fireworks and pyrotechnics, and
Me included.
I'm here to let you know that there is a big difference.
Okay.
And what is the difference between fireworks and pyrotechnics? Here's a long explanation, but the short explanation essentially is fireworks go into the sky. So they're the loud crash booms that you see in the air. Pyrotechnics are more up close and personal. That's what you'd see on a stage, like when you see the performers and you see the fire behind them, or you see the fog behind them, or even when you're watching a movie and you see a transformer blow up or a car blow up. That's all pyrotechnics. So it's a lot
Oh,
more close proximity. There's less noise and it's a lot more precise and efficient. Whereas fireworks, they're boom bang, they're in the sky. So that's how you can say pyro versus fireworks is one is up close and personal and one is far and up in the sky. Has anyone ever has who has never seen a fireworks show was the question I wanted to ask. I can't see your spaces here. I don't know if you can do a poll or not, but I'd be curious to see is that has
nobody
anybody
here, nobody here has said they have never seen a fireworks show.
fantastic. That's what I wanted to hear because some place I went, they were saying, I've never seen one. I'm saying those are the people who, I like to spend special time with. So fantastic. Everybody has seen one. Has everyone done fireworks personally?
Everybody here down in the South shoots fireworks at some point in their life.
Amazing. So the question now is, when are fireworks mostly used? For me, I say fireworks are the international language of celebrations. Fireworks, well, I sell fireworks for personal use. That's the fireworks that you can buy yourself and do yourself. We also do professional fireworks displays where you hire us to put on the spectacular show. So when we're looking at fireworks and we're thinking about when are fireworks used, my customers typically come in and they say birthdays, weddings, baby showers, festivals, concerts. And then I started getting clients coming in saying, well, I got a new job, or I'm getting divorced, or I'm going to a funeral and we'd like to do, instead of a 21 gun salute, they do 21 shot salutes with the
Yeah,
fireworks.
yeah.
So, every time they come in, I'm always amazed at how creative they are with what they're using fireworks for. So I added to the list and I use that to help me market and promote to these different uses. Now, within fireworks, there's also several jobs that people don't really think about. So there are the procurements in which you get the city jobs when they're doing their holiday celebrations, weddings, festivals, holidays, retail, private contracts. But in the film industry, if you really pay attention, since I've got into this, I really, every time I turn on the TV or every time I go to start a movie, there's always fireworks. It starts in the beginning, there's somewhere in the middle, the commercials. So I'm a lot more aware of it. But if you think about it, movies is a major industry for fireworks. And then there's the legislation, there's the training, inspector, bylaw. So there's a lot of verticals within this fireworks industry that many people don't think about. Just to get them in the sky is one thing, but there's the regulations, there's the design, there's the building, there's the manufacturing, there's the actual crew to put the show on. So for me, when I looked into it and I got into fireworks, I was really amazed at all the different things that relate to fireworks that are not necessarily thought about. So this is a firework rack. So when
Wow.
we get a show to do a professional show, this would be this middle row here with the smaller ones. These would be 2-inch shells. The bigger ones at the top would be 4-inch shells. And this is what the blue wires attached to. They go into our boom boxes and you're able to fire them off in sequence. So it's really a
Wow.
lot of designing, there's engineering. That's why I was saying that fireworks really falls into STEM because you're thinking about the science of all the chemicals. You're thinking about the technical aspect of it. You're thinking about the engineering of building, the math of the different trajectories and the angles that these things have to be put in so that they fire at the right time and that they fire at the right angle. So you're firing away from the crowd and you're firing against the wind. So there's a lot of science and technology that you really have to think about in order to put on a safe, spectacular show. This is my boom. So this was my boom box that I created. These are all the wires that you can see. And then this is after the shells have gone into the motors. So if we look at
Wow.
fire, they were sitting on top of. This is my. And so this yellow box here is what we use to wire all of these fireworks and bring them into the box so that they're not hand fired, they're electronic.
Wow.
A typical day for a fireworks show would take us maybe between 4 and 6 hours to set up a 20-minute show. And that's a crew of 8 people, and each person will have their own rack that they would have to build. So you get there and you get your wood. All this wood here has to be built in. The individual slots are already put together, but you've got to put your racks together. You've got to hammer them in. You've got to build your racks in the right angles and then position them where your permit allows.
Wow.
So this is me firing a hand fire show. Again, racks that we had to build, 2 inch, 4 inch, 3 inch. So we get out there. There's two different methods typically for fireworks. It's either you're going to fire electronically with the boom box, or you're going to get up there and hand fire like this. You'll be able to see the show shortly. You'll see some of them go up into the sky. But this is where I fell in love. I really got the thrill of the fireworks going off, smell of the gunpowder, the ground shaking, the sound of the punk, and then it going off into the sky. So this was where I fell in love. I think this was one of my first shows actually that I did.
Your just reaction is hilarious.
Yeah, well, the safe way to do it is you want to light it and then turn your face away so that at least when it goes off into the right direction. And worst case scenario, if anything does happen, it's not happening to the front side of you.
Yeah.
So you fire and you walk away or you lean away. This was a show that we did at the London airport here in Toronto. We
Oh
had the
wow.
fighter jets come out. They did the whole air show where they did the spinning and the twisting and the turning. They came out and they did the show for the crowd, and then we had fireworks as a finale at the end. So there's always partnerships and collaborations that you never anticipate, but they always work well with the fireworks finale. Now, the most important thing everybody wants to know is always about the money. Americans spend over $2 billion every year on consumer fireworks. So it's a growing industry that never ends. Fireworks have been around for more than 2,000 years, and we don't see a stop anytime in the future. It only continues to grow as celebrations get bigger and economy grows. So here's an example of some fireworks. This is one of the bigger shows that they have. And it always fascinates me when I look and I see, each show is so orchestrated when we look back at the rocks and then they turn into this.
Wow.
So my question here now is who spends the most on fireworks? Does
Now
anybody?
now, I already knew this before the presentation, and this will blow people's minds
Yes,
because this is a great trivia question, but this is hilarious when once people see the answer to this.
absolutely. So people, I don't know who spends the most on fireworks. Five, four, three,
Y'all,
two.
y'all have any idea?
Disney spends the most on
Yeah, and
fireworks.
it's
And
not close.
$1 million annually. One night can cost up to $150,000. And that's really big. They're known for their fun. People go there for their. So the next question is, okay, now that we've mastered fireworks, we understand pyrotechnics. What's the future of fireworks? They've been around for 2,000 years. If we're looking into the future, what comes next? And I sat down there and I was saying, okay, I'm licensed in fireworks, I'm licensed in pyrotechnics. What am I going to do next? The question is drones. Drones, I say, are the cousins to fireworks. They give you all the entertainment, they give you all of the lights. They are the friendly, environmentally safe cousins to fireworks. A lot of people they don't know what is a drone. Do we know what a drone is here?
Yeah, we have a drone program in our school district. So
Oh,
we have kids getting drone pilot certifications in high school.
oh, amazing. We don't have that here. So
Yeah.
technically, a drone is an aircraft that can be flown without a pilot on board. These are known as UAVs, which is an unmanned aerial vehicle. Here's the different kinds of drones that I work with. This bigger one, it can it's got a flashlight. This big thing on the top of it is a horn, so you can speak. These are what they use in security. So for instance, if you got like a large building or a large warehouse, where instead of having a security guard on hand 24 hours a day, you can have your drones, and then you'd have motion detectors. And if the motion detector is triggered, this drone will fly out of its case. It'll do a spotlight to the area, and then you could actually speak live on command. Hey, who is there? What's going on? You could spin it around and you could look. And this has been able to really change the face of security in terms of having people manned, and just using this, you get really in-depth visuals. You have on-time immediate responding, and it's also safe because you can tell the threat if there's actually a threat. It could be an animal, it could be a person, it could be the wind. So this kind of saves you time and it's a lot more efficient. We've got little guys that can do real estate, construction, we can do land surveys. So depending upon what you're using the drone for, there's hundreds of different kinds.
Yeah, and we had I'm glad you mentioned that one because
Mm,
recently down the way here we had a manhunt for a fugitive and they
yeah,
found him with a drone.
there you
So
go.
you mentioned the safety. They weren't having to go in there without, worry about getting shot. They were able to
Exactly.
spot him with the drone and they were able to converge on him and everybody left and went home that night instead of having shots fired. So that
That's
is
such a
a huge
thing.
area of drones right now.
Absolutely. And that's just, and they've got like a heat sensor on it. So you'll be able to detect people in the day and detect people in the night. We had a case over here where we had a kangaroo escape from the zoo. Well, not over here in Toronto. And they couldn't find it. They couldn't do anything. And that's what happened. They threw a drone out there because, the kangaroo was all over the place and they would just jump and it was the middle of the night. And they were able to use the heat sensor in order to find the kangaroo, capture it, and bring it back to the zoo.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really amazing what I'm seeing them doing with drones nowadays. There's so many, again, what are drones used for? There's surveillance, there's videos, there's so many reasons. These are the top reasons that I'm seeing drones are used for right now: agriculture, real estate, construction, roofing. I saw a kid that's doing roofing with a construction company. He was really good at flying drones, and he went to the roofing company and said, "Hey, if I go onto the top of the homes and give you a 3D imaging of these houses, you are then able to tell the homeowners the quality of their roof, what exactly needs to be changed, and you're able to cost it and also give the client a 3D imaging of everything you're doing." So there's so many, as you just said, search and rescue, there's delivery, there's medical, there's hydro lines here in Toronto. They what they're using is when the hydro lines get frozen, instead of, they used to have to get a helicopter to come out there with a wand to hit the ice off of the hydro lines. Now you can use a drone, put a wand on there, and it's a lot more efficient. It's a lot cheaper. You can get into remote areas. So there's really the uses of drones is on. Somebody's using it right now to do car washing.
Yeah, and I'm
So
glad you mentioned with the agriculture on there. Here in
yeah,
Mississippi, we have a couple of agricultural programs and universities, and they really have a lot of emphasis on the use of drones in agriculture because of all the farmland here. People are able to plant more efficiently. They can put cattle out more efficiently, and it's really they're paying top dollar for agricultural drone pilots.
and it's not just that, it's about the analytics that you can provide to them. You can tell them the quality of soil, you can tell them the depth of soil, you can tell them where it needs water, you can tell them when it needs water. from seed to harvest. You can give them all the data in between. So this helps the farmers to be more efficient. It helps them to plan ahead, and they're able to prevent losses from weeds. They're prevent a lot to they're able to really maximize their yield every turn. And every farmer is looking to get more and spend less. And with drones, we're now able to make a lot of jobs more efficient. And that's really what it is. It's not that we're taking the people away. We still need people, but we need people
Correct.
to use the drones to make their lives better. So
There
instead
you
of
go.
out to go in and again plant the seeds, you can send a drone out there that's going to go out there, and instead of you walking 50 acres, you can send a drone out there to do it half the time, a lot more efficient, capture all your data and bring it back to you. So it's about using drones in a smart way to manipulate the data that they provide and bring it back to you to make you more efficient.
Wow.
And again, let's talk about the money. Money is always important. And we said $2 billion people spend in fireworks annually. Right now, we're talking about $14 billion is projected by 2030 in the commercial drone market.
Wow.
Industry is constantly growing. The uses are constantly changing as people are getting more innovative about what they need the drone for. They're now able to adapt the drone. They're able to remodel the drone, refix the drone, add on to the drone to make it specific to what they need.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Amazon because Amazon and a lot of the larger cities, they're doing drone deliveries. You can order it and then they'll take it with a drone and drop it on your doorstep.
Yep. There's drone deliveries. There's also the medical supplies that they were using a lot over in the war zones, where instead of sending people out, you can send the medical supplies out by a drone.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Hold on. I hit you mute instead of me mute. I'm sorry. I had somebody come in my room. My apologies. You're still muted.
Did
Yeah, there we
it?
go. I'm sorry. That was 100% my fault.
No problem. I was saying that with drones now, with the medical deliveries, like, all of those war zone places, now instead of using the drones to fight, you can use the drones to send medical supplies, to send blood, to send help, to send first aid. So we're really looking at the good aspects of drones and how we can make the world better with drones. There is negative connotations to drones, obviously, but we are looking at how we can make us better with understanding that this is what's happening, this is what the future is, and what can we do to make our lives better, and how can we profit off of it? And again, who spends the most money on drones? Fun fact. Does anybody have an answer? Anybody have a thought?
Uh,
Do
Now
you
here's
know?
one I didn't. Here's one I did not know on this one.
Good. So, who spends the most money? Oh, where are we going? The United States is the world leader in spending for the military with a large defense budget, and China is right behind them. I wasn't really surprised when I found this out, considering of what's going on in the world. So
Yeah.
again, you guys being in America, you guys are in prime position and prime place to really take advantage of this drone industry in all of the many verticals that it has. So again, this is drone captured. It gives you an unbiased view of the area in which you can then take and manipulate into whatever way you need. But the shots that you can get from a drone are unmatched. The only way that you'd be able to get these drones in past times would have been through a helicopter.
Yeah.
So it
Man.
makes the views are stunning. The cost is significantly reduced, and the clients are happier because they can go in and you could do multiple shots and you could do multiple editions, as opposed to with a helicopter, you're very limited. Again, with a drone, you're able to detect sinkholes. This you could do with a drone that's got a LiDAR sensor on it. You'll be able to tell the deficiencies in the ground. You'll be able to tell anticipate when this is going to happen, if this is going to happen. This was June 28th, 2024. And this happened in
Wow.
Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. So imagine you're in the middle of a soccer field and the ground sinks in. 70% of America is susceptible to sinkholes. When I was doing my research, I found that out.
Yeah.
Next question. Have you ever seen a swarm drone show?
I've only seen one in person in my life, and it is something to see, man.
Wonderful. So this is what they look like. When we're setting them up. This was 300 drones that we did in Niagara Falls.
Wow.
Set them out, and then you've got to do a hover test to make sure that all your drones are working, they're all aligning back to your computer.
That is unbelievable.
So we typically get out there during the day to set up the drone to make sure that everything is working, functioning. And then at showtime, all we have to do is hit forward. So this was the actual show that we did for the Niagara Falls. So that was the 300 drones that you just saw right there. This was a show that we did for it. They specifically wanted a show that showcased their features of what they do at Niagara Falls. So
Yeah.
this is 300 drones being filmed by a drone. So Niagara Falls is known for their boat tours. They're known for their fun attractions. They're known for their gaming. This was a 12-minute, 13-minute show that was sped up to about 1 minute, just to give you guys the effects of what we were doing. And again, you'll see Niagara Falls here in the background.
Wow.
They're known for their wine country, amazing parks and experiences, great romance. It's the wedding capital of the world. So, and what they did with this show was it wasn't about an audience sitting, it was just about them showcasing what they can do. So this was shown at a 365-degree angle. And again, we could even do QR codes in the sky, which can be,
Wow.
you could take a picture from the front, the back, from any angle, and that will lead you right to a landing page, to a website. If you're trying to drive traffic to your social media, wherever you want the traffic to go, you hit a QR code in the sky and it's automatic curiosity. So even your intended market, even if you were having an event where you invited 20,000 people, just by it being in the sky and the curiosity of everybody else seeing it, naturally you're going to get the click rates and people are going to want to know what, just out of curiosity, where does this go? What does it do? Imagine a QR code. So you'll see a McDonald's logo in the sky, and then you'll see the fries or a Big Mac, and then you'd see a QR code and you scan the QR code and you get a free drink with every burger that you buy or some kind of a discount when you make a purchase. So QR codes are really have really transformed how we lived in an everyday life. And when you put them in the sky, it just amplifies the exposure. My time coming. This was a show that we planned. This was for Cinco de Mayo. My time coming. This was about 100 drones.
Wow.
Buddy, do it better. So that was one show. Got it. I've been praying
Wow.
a better way. I concentrate on my goals and I'm gonna say make sacrifices for time. I got it. University. I'm gonna make sure the family forever straight. They wouldn't listen. Oh, I gotta devastate. I'm on your ass and I won't let you get away. I gotta elevate. I've been praying to God for a better way. I concentrate on my goals and I'm gonna say make sacrifices for time and I dedicate. I gotta elevate. I'm gonna make sure the family forever straight. They wouldn't listen.
Wow.
I gotta devastate. I'm on your ass and I won't let you get away. I gotta elevate. That was their graduation show. And this
That's
was
incredible.
again done by Flick. So this is my contact information. I'd love for everybody to keep in touch. I got it right to about half an hour, Greg. I did good with timing.
Yeah, you did. Now and I'm absolutely blown away at the amount of things that you can do here. And I never would have thought about this. That picture of the QR code there above BMO Field in Toronto, when you have 50,000 people at a football game or at a baseball game and you want to have some type of promotion, now you have a way to do that where everybody can see it. It really
Absolutely.
is such a big business thing. Now, a couple of things I did want to talk about because we did mention it briefly about when you were growing up in Canada and you first went to university, you were not going to school for this. This was not something you had a career in. So this
Absolutely.
is something because, like I said, we can get kids that can be certified with this when they graduate high school and they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
So if you want to make money in this, if you want to get into this field, this is not necessarily something you would have to go and get a degree for.
Right, absolutely. These are career alternatives where you don't have to go to college or you don't have to go to university and spend 10, 15, 5 years in doing this. With fireworks, you can go from assistant to supervisor in less than 6 months. With the drones, you can do basic drones, you could do advanced drones. But again, that's a vertical that doesn't require any kind of university. You go in, you do your pilot training, you do the course to get you prepared, you do the license, and you're off and gunning. And there's
Yeah.
so many ways that you can use these drones in multiple industries to make money.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to, everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, and I get that because there's a lot of financial risk, there's a lot of stress. So if
Yeah,
somebody wanted to work for a company like yours,
yeah,
what type of
absolutely.
skills would you be looking for? Would you necessarily want somebody that has a degree, or maybe somebody that has a military experience, or maybe somebody that has the certifications?
For me, I'm really looking at somebody who's innovative. I'm looking at somebody who's forward thinking. To use the drone is one thing, to to be piloting is another thing. And in many of these positions, you don't even need to be a pilot. You just need to be efficient at using the drones. So that's just by playing around with it. If you can play with a PS5 or any of those gaming things, which I cannot do, this is basically the same thing because you're looking to use your two hands at once while you're doing eye coordination. And if you could do that, you've got the basic skills of a drone pilot.
Wow. Now,
And
what type of programming goes into this? Because again, I don't have a background in this either. I enjoy learning about it, but it's not
sure,
something I have a background in. So obviously, there's new software coming out all the time to program. There's new
absolutely,
camera programs coming out. So being
absolutely.
up on that could be useful as well.
For sure. And then even just the different brands that come with it. Um, drones, again, there's the agriculture drones, there's the light drones, which is what I use for the swarm drones. There's drones that you could use in construction. There's drones you could use for agriculture. There's the military drones, big, huge ones. And then there's the delivery drones. So it's really what you're trying to do with it. And then you don't even necessarily, like you said, have to be the one doing it. You could work for Amazon. You could work for all these other companies that are looking for people to fly the planes for them. So whether you want to do it yourself or you want to work for a company, like I said, the construction business is really big right now. You can fly a drone over the stockpile, and the engineers are using it to build on the land. So they'll use it to survey the land, and then they'll know the depth of the land because some lands is deep, some lands is high. So this will be able to tell you different depths of the lands. The engineers could then build upon it, can create their designs upon that. And once that's built, then the builders come in now and they're saying, okay, we're going to drop all the supplies. We're going to drop 1,000 bricks on Monday. So on Monday, the beginning of the day, you can fly over and say you can calculate all of your stockpiles from bricks to cement. You can calculate labor, you can calculate usage, you can calculate uh, how long it's going to take. And then 2 days from now, you go back and you fly over it again, and it'll be able to tell you what was used, what hasn't been used, what more you need to order. So there's so many efficient ways to make money in drones. And that's really what I want to impress upon you. Think about the money. Think about the money for yourself. What are you trying to do? And then reverse engineer it. How do I get from this to this using this? And that's really how I built it. As I continued to learn about the different uses of drones and got into the different conferences and start to get into the legislative aspect of it, and just by learning more and speaking more and being in all these different conferences, people start to ask more questions. And then as you become an industry leader and an expert in this field, then you help to shape the regulations of what is happening. Because the drone industry is still so new, they're not proactive, they're retroactive. So something happens and then they come in and say, okay, we got to do something. So they're still working that way through drones. But if you can get ahead in right now where it's still open, there's so many avenues from you, from creating to building to manufacturing to actual practical uses.
Big
And that
time.
goes with fireworks and with drones. So I'm really an advocate for the sky in
Love it.
general.
Well, I do have a couple questions from the students.
Yeah,
I
please.
like these. I've got time for a couple, but this is Cortez Maxwell. He's in 10th grade. And he asked, what is the hardest part about programming a swarm drone show?
Yes. So essentially with the swarm drone shows, everything is pre-programmed and synchronized. So we handle all of that in-house before we even get there. The hardest part, I would say, would be laying out the drones, because that's the physical labor of actually getting out there and laying out 300 drones. Sometimes, it's tedious. They say many hands make work light. So when you can get out there with more people, it makes it less to do. When you go out there with 4 or 5 people, it's a lot. When you get out there with 10, 15 people, it's quick and fast.
I love it. This is Bryson Stevens. He's in 9th grade. His Ashley has a brother who's currently serving in the United States Air Force, and I know they deal with a lot of these things as well. But
Amazing.
he asked, what is the most rewarding part about flying the drones?
For me, the swarm drone show is the crowd reaction. Like with every change, your crowd goes, "Ah," it's the reaction of the crowd. And then on the back end, the analytics, when you see the actual how many clicks happened and how much time they spent on the website and how many people actually made a purchase, all of that back end. So it's the reaction and then the analytics.
Yeah, and then I'm glad you mentioned too, just to talk briefly about the pyrotechnics. I go to a lot of concerts, I go to a lot of sporting events. I'm a big wrestling fan. You go to WWE, they got those pyrotechnics, and you hear the
Yep.
crowd oohing and eyeing.
Mhm.
Somebody had to set that up and control that explosion, and they
Absolutely.
synchronized it with those guys, and it is super, super cool. And it takes a skilled person to do that, and they are
Absolutely.
not cheap, especially with the safety of indoors fire hazards and things, but that is something super cool that we see all the time that you're right. We take for granted that that is a very skilled person doing that.
Yeah, actually what really impressed upon me was last year Beyonce was on tour, and I went to the concert and then I went to see the movie. And in the movie, she was talking about pyrotechnics and blah, 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 and that the smoke was always burning her throat. And I was like, Beyonce, you need to talk to me. My don't have smoke. Like there's no smoke, there's no flames, it's safe to touch. But yeah, absolutely. These staging effects, this is what people are paying the big money for, right? These are the things that make the concert when you're saying ooh and the ah, it's always the lights and the effects.
Big time. Well, we're almost out of time, and we
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking some time for us, especially while you're out of town. But a couple things before we go. Uh, you gave us your website. You got a lot of pictures on there, a lot of cool stuff you're doing. You're always posting cool stuff on there. So I encourage everybody to follow that. But we'd be remiss if we did not speak about the need for more females in this, because when you think about pyrotechnics and drones, it's not something you've seen a lot of females get in on, but there is a big need, just like every other industry, to diversify it. And it's no coincidence. This is Black History Month. We need everybody to really know that they have a place in this industry, because you mentioned the growth. A $30 billion industry is going to need as many people that are skilled in it as possible, no matter where they come from. So why should these kids, no matter what their background is, what their gender is, why should they really consider getting into this field?
Absolutely. And for me, I kept saying, I don't mind being the first, but I don't want to be the only. So
There you
it's
go.
important to see representation in these industries. And for me, there was none. I didn't see any, so I had to get out there and create it. And the field is so vast. And again, every year people look forward to their fireworks, especially at the holidays. So why are we not in this industry? Why are we not making a fraction of this $2 billion in fireworks consumer sales? Never mind the fireworks professional displays, never mind the fireworks film industry. There's so many verticals, and I'm seeing people getting rich. And I was saying, like, what's going on? Just for an example, my first day on the job, when I went to do my apprenticeship for fireworks, the guy said to me, I only do 5 shows a year. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, I work 5 times a year. I said, how is that possible? And he says, well, Shevonne, I get the city procurements. And I went and I looked it up. For him, one city procurement's $286. $286,000. Sorry. $286,000. He says, Shevonne, the first one pays all the bills. The second one I invest. The third one I save. The fourth one I have fun with. And the fifth one is my just in case. How many people don't want to work 5 times a year? So we really have to think bigger, and when he said that to me, it changed my whole life, changed my whole world, and I've never gone back to doing anything else because it's
Wow.
possible. It's definitely possible, and that's just one person in one city.
Wow.
So I'm here to tell you guys, get in there, learn, be safe. That's very, very, very important because especially with fireworks, we're dealing with explosives. But if you follow the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, you can be rich very quickly.
Love it. And such a cool way to do it. Just and again, that presentation exceeded anything I was thinking. That was so cool to see the work you do and all the things that are possible. But we thank you so much for joining us from Jamaica by way of the beautiful city of Toronto, Canada. Founder and owner of Flick FX Fireworks. Thank you, Shevonne Chin. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
taking time
please
for us.
keep in touch. Anybody, anytime, if you have any questions, I'm here for all questions at all times. I'm here to support and really to usher people into this field. So if you ever have any questions, give me a call, send me a message, follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, website. I'm always available. Thank you, Greg, for finding me and I'm able to express and show and share with everybody what one of my passions.
Love it. All right. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Thank you. Take care.